Well, hi everybody. Brad Sugars here from over in Utah in the United States. It is nighttime here, hence under the bright lights of the screen. Really looking forward to introducing you to this book and obviously its great author, Suzzanne. So very impressed to have read this book and see what's coming on. So, hey, you're live with us now. Congratulations. I'm here in the States. You're over in WA. It's bright and sunny there during the morning, and it's nighttime here in the States.
Very excited to see you, Brad.
Well, it's good to be here. After reading the book, I've got to say, we've been together, working together for a lot of years, because I remember I think I was in my early 20s when we first met, and I'm pretty sure you said you didn't need a business coach back then. Would that be true?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. I didn't know what I didn't know. Just because I was making money then, I thought that I didn't need to learn anymore.
Yeah. Look, I have an interesting question for you. Did you write this book for COVID? Because I'm pretty sure when I read the book, I thought, hang on, this planning thing is written for exactly right now, isn't it?
No, I didn't. I finished it probably end of last year, beginning of this year. And it's weird how the universe has created something that is very appropriate for COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, look, planning is due for any aspect of it. And I've been teaching for months now. You've got to at least have a 90-day plan to get through this thing and have a full plan. But, when you sit down and you start thinking about it, there's so many business books out there. Your knowledge with all of your experience running your own businesses plus coaching people, what makes the book different? What makes it stand out in your mind?
I think over the years, I have read so many business planning books and looked at so many business planning books. And so often they're very dry and very theoretical. But when, as us as human beings go through challenges, we're really emotional. We've got to get, involved with families and relationships and all of business, are totally intermingled. And so what I've done is I've laced my own personal COVIDs, my challenges in life, which is husband dying in front of me, me being told I had 5 years to live, global financial crisis, all of these things that have been slapped at me, and how I overcome those challenges paralleled with the business theory behind it. And then a real a real client story of real people paralleled with each of those parts of the business planning elements.
Yeah, look, I think one of the biggest things I noticed was that there's the real life part of this thing, because it's not just a theoretical book on planning, there's real life involved.
Yeah, and one of the things that, I think really for me, really put at home was, we talk about the business working for us, not working for our business. And, if you had to take a year off today, how many of your businesses would still be around? And when I was faced with the challenges, people will read in the book of, you've got 5 years to live. And we were running a business that was, very much attached to us. And then we said, no, we want to have a year off. We've got a 5-year-old and a 9-year-old. We want to enjoy life and backpack the world and have the business serve us. So we promoted a general manager and backpacked the world for a year. And I go through that in detail in the book of, imagine if you had a business that you got to a level that could work for you and you just took a wage every single week and you traveled the world. Like that's what every person's dream, but it's not that far away. It could be as close as 2 or 3 years away.
Is that a part of the inspiration of what got you to write the book?
Yeah, I think coupled with the challenges that we went through, and after 10 years of being part of the Action Coach family and 10 years of being part of the BNI family, which is very much the same philosophy as Action Coach. It's about re-educating business owners. It's about, making them, to step their business up. I just saw so many people whose lives were ruined because of business. Their lives weren't enhanced because of business. They had relationship problems. They've got financial problems. They've got problems with their children because they never get to see them. So they've got all these problems going on because they decided to have freedom and start their own business because they thought they knew more about it than their boss. You know, and it just created all of these problems that they didn't realize that us business owners don't get 3 months long service leave unless we plan it. We don't get sick leave. You know, when our kids are sick, we're still running the business at home with a bucket of, you know, trying to catch the vomit and running, taking orders on the phone and all this. You know, that's classic small business. You know, they forget about all that. And so I've seen it and thought, well, hey, I've got to help people step up to the next level.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember the first time I realized the difference between being an employee on a paid holiday and being an employer on a paid holiday and thinking, what do you mean I have to pay you to not come to work? That's insane.
Very different, very different. You know, and it's funny, when you were in Perth quite a few years ago, I don't know if you remember, but we spent a day with quite a few of my clients. And, you know, one of them saw my book being launched, hadn't spoken to him for a few years, rang me yesterday and said, oh, that business that you helped us get out of, that we put a manager in that gave us a life, and we've been out of the business for 3 or 4 years now since you helped us with that. We actually sold it 6 months ago and got beyond our wildest dreams. And we're just happy to see your books come out and that we couldn't have done it without your help. And I'm like, you know, is that not just the most awesome thing that a business coach wants to hear?
Is that who you wrote the book for business? Like, who did you write it for?
Well, those people that want to have a life and be able to have the business to help them support whatever that life is. You know, whatever they want it to be, if it's more family time, if it's more sporting time, if it's, you know, doing, you know, whatever they love doing, it's to assist their life, not to take it away. We're not here for long.
Yeah, being in business should give you more life. You know, I'm pretty sure that was our tagline for a lot of years, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I think people don't understand, you know, our vision, you know, which is about, you know, re-educating business owners. That is, I think, something that people don't understand. You know, you can't implement what you don't know. So if you don't know what's involved in planning a successful business, well, you can't go and do it. You need to do the plan first. It's like you can't build a house without a plan.
Yeah, and of course, every business owner has written a dozen business plans before they write one for themselves. Not.
Yes.
You know, no one's actually ever done it. I still remember, though, when you talk about the benefits of doing what you do and what I do. I remember one of my clients many years ago who had one child when I first met them, and about 4 years later, they had you know, 2 kids, 3 kids, and they were having their 4th child. And they said, we couldn't have afforded more kids when we first met you. And it was a weird thing for someone to say to me, but you don't really realize the benefits of coaching until multiple years later. And I think the same's true for planning.
Absolutely. Because it's not actually the actual, you know, written plan, it's the implementation of the plan, and it's the awareness of what needs to be done that comes out in the planning process. But if you have a wonderful plan and you don't implement it, it's useless. Same with anything in life. A PT can give you a great personal training program, but if you don't go and do the yards, you'll still be, you know, unfit. So
if you're not eating the apple a day, there you go. So hang on. So let's go back then a quick step there. Why is it so important that a business has a business plan? And in fact, even more important, why is it important that a business owner does the planning as well as has the plan? I guess that's 2 questions, if you could answer them both for me.
Because I think if someone doesn't plan something, they'll just end up wherever they end up. And a business is no different. So, you know, I've got businesses, as you would have dealt with, you know, hundreds and thousands of them that decide they want niche and they want to stay small. Others would like to go global. Others would like to go, you know, regional. So it's about saying, well, what do I want out of the business? Other people, you know, I had a lady recently who was, you know, working a butt off. And then I said, well, what makes your heart sing? And she said, I really just want to spend time with my kids. They're only 2 and 3. And I said, well, let's make a plan for that. So we planned in 1 year to get her out of the business. Now she's out. and she's over the moon. She said, I thought I had to want to build an empire. And I said, you don't. It's up to you. It's your vehicle. You drive it where you want it. So I think, you know, it's like having any vehicle, a car. If you would like to, you know, just go wherever the car takes you, fine, you'll end up in Timbuktu. But if you say, well, I'd like to go on this amazing journey and have a great experience, well, let's, you know, get clear on what that vision is. What does it look like? Is it small? Is it niche? Is it global? What time, money, revenue? Get that clarity, and then we can start working out the plan and the route and how we're going to do this. Yeah. But if you're not clear on it first, it'll never happen.
Covey said, start with the end in mind. I think it's a very big part of what you've done with this book is help people determine what is the end in mind. Can you speak more to that for me and give people a bit of a look into how that works?
Yeah, and that is probably one of the essence or the seeds that made me want to do the book. As you know, I had the terrible experience of watching my husband be burnt in a house fire, had a can of petrol explode in his face, and he was fully alight from head to toe, the house on fire, really worst nightmare you could ever dream of. Day 3, he passed away in ICU. His head was the size of a medicine ball, didn't look like a human being, black, charred, melted, just absolutely awful. And when he passed away and explained to me weeks later what actually happened to him, he saw his body and he had a choice whether to come back or not to come back. He said it was a definite choice. He thought that it was, you know, drug induced or something because of all the, you know, the drugs that they have you up in ICU. But when he explained the situation, it wasn't, because he explained the room that he'd never had his eyes open. So, and it was the exact time that he passed away. Now, he described to me what the magnet was that actually brought him back to earth when he had the choice. Do I stay? Do I go? This is not a good situation. Now, 6 months before, when we just started our marriage together, we went to a Zig Ziglar seminar. And he's like, dream out your wildest dreams. And we're like, oh, buy a house. No, dream more. Buy a yacht. No, dream further. 20 years, 30 years. Start a business. Backpack the world with our children. Do an amazing sport, represent Australia, do a marathon. We were like smashing them out. You know, you know how really enthusiastic Ziggy was, and we were right at the front of the stage in Melbourne. And he's dragging them out. And when you can't dream anymore, just dream one further, just one further. Anyway, we had this list. We'd been 6 months into this list. He dies. And he says, all I could think of, Susie, was all of our plans. We'd done 30, 40 years of a plan. And we had all the plans and they were all together. And he said, I just couldn't let you down, Susie. You were next to me. You were sitting there next to me, the look on your face. And I just couldn't let you down. We just started the journey. And to me, that just rocked my soul with the importance of planning. If you don't, it's not that magnet that drives you to get up every day and the balance and be excited and motivated of, let's go and get this done with this exciting journey that we're on of life.
Yeah. Look, I know I've been with you through this whole journey, and I think that one of the greatest things that you bring to this is it's you almost bring them their life plan first and their business plan second.
Absolutely.
Can you explain to people more about that? Because I think it's hard for a lot of people to understand that your business has to fit in with your life plan, not the other way around.
Yes, absolutely. And I think so often people think that they have to be a slave to business. Oh, I'm a small business person, I have to work weekends. Well, why? Yes, we've all done it because we had a goal, but really that shouldn't be a constant. That might be to get you through a certain period of time. I mean, I know through COVID, people have worked long hours to make their business better than before and to pivot and to branch into new products and to change direction and to, you know, quickly get online and do all this. Yes, we all do that. But the norm is about saying, what do I want in life? What can make my heart sing? What's going to be the best for our family and for where we want to go? to fit into our lifestyle. And if you want to pick up the kids from school, I mean, one of the guys that you met that day, you know, one of his dreams when you came to Perth was to be able to pick his kids up every day from school. He's got 3 kids, you know, and he does that now. And he's like, Susie, I never dreamt I'd be able to do that. And I do it all the time now. The kids don't have to go into after school care. They get daddy to play it and park with them. And that's, you know, that's the business supporting him and his family and his life, because there's no point, because it'll be too late. They'll be grown up.
Yeah. So let's get more into the book. Let's do a little bit of that, because I think, you know, if people aren't inspired by your story, they're a little bit crazy, but you know, that's the thing. But then again, you and I are a little bit crazy because we love helping people more than we love helping ourselves. So you know, we keep educating everyone as to how to do this. What are some of the biggest takeaways that you see people will from reading the book and learning from what you teach? What are some of those sorts of things that you think are important for people to understand?
I think when I go through it in the book, I've tried to make it in such a way that it's so simple that people get it. I've taken them on a journey that is hopefully using. It's a book where I give lots of tips, I give lots of ideas, I give lots of strategies. I don't do the old coach.
The real life stories bring that out, I think.
Exactly.
And people are really aware of that.
Yeah, exactly. So I talk to them about, you know, what is a vision and a mission, because often people are really scared to say, you know, what does all that mean? So I go through what that means and give examples. And then I go down from that and say, okay, so, you know, what are the outcomes you want? Get clear of them first. And then I go through and go through the financials. You know, I mean, you know, I reckon 95% of people I speak to don't have a budget because they're scared. You know, I had a lady once that was turning over about 5 million, and she said, I'm really scared to say this, but I don't know how to work out gross profit margin. And I'm like, you know, that's okay to ask me. It's fine. You know, and so I go through all these horrible questions that they wouldn't have asked. And so that's really simple. And I give simple examples of how to do it and what's worked for me. I mean, one of the first things I did, first week of business, was start a BNI, because for me, being part of a community of people that trust you and that support you and will refer you is really, really crucial in business. My dad gave us he referred us to all his clients. I have a BNI group supporting me, because you don't feel alone in business when you've got a team that support you. They're not your competitors. They're not your accountant. You know, they're not your bank manager. They're just like you and I want to help. And that for me has been instrumental.
So let's go back into that about building community. One of the great things you've done in Perth is build a community of business owners. And, you know, I think that that's a wonderful aspect, and maybe you don't get credit for doing that enough. But when you see all of those business owners come together and help each other, how does that, tell me more about that, because I think that's important for people to realize, is that just having them together is a big part of what you do.
Oh, absolutely. And honestly, Brad, my heart wants to explode with tears. Sometimes I get so overjoyed. I got a text yesterday from a lady who I'd had in a business planning session in the boardroom with another dozen other people. And I just had no idea, but she texted me and said, I have never been in an environment like that in my life, and I never thought that I could have held my own. And she said, I just want to thank you. I'm so excited, and I understand so much more. They're just human people. Everyone was gorgeous. Everyone was supportive. And she's a small business owner, no different to them, but she was scared of that environment. And she was perfect. She fitted in great.
Business ownership's really lonely if you don't find the right tribe to hang out with. And that's one of the things that I love about what you're doing. So let's just take a look a little past here, right? So the book hits #1 Amazon in its category, or #1 and all that. How are you going to celebrate that? What are you going to do? I mean, do you realize that for the rest of time now, you have Suzzanne Laidlaw, author, on your thing? Like, you're now an author. How does that feel? It must feel pretty cool.
It's exciting. I mean, my goal, as you probably heard me say many times, is I want to be a millionaire of hearts. I want to touch 1,000,000 hearts. And now that I'm 55 and I cap my coaching at 12 one-on-one clients, I'm like, oh, this is going to be hard to do 1,000,000 when I only coach 12 one-on-one people. So I thought I could up those numbers by helping lots of people with business plans. But again, I can't help enough people. So I thought, well, if I write a book, I can touch lots of people's hearts and try and make them, I suppose, have a better life or a better business because of the knowledge or the inspiration or the strategies or the tips that they might have got through reading the book.
Yeah. Well, if we go back to Zig Ziglar, the more you serve, the more you deserve. So
Exactly. Exactly.
So let's tie this up with a couple of quick last questions.
Yep.
Number one, give me the top 2 reasons I should buy your book today.
Because you'll learn something and you'll be inspired to have a more awesome life, business or personal.
Now that's really interesting because you said awesome life first, not business. Yep. Tell me more why you said that.
Well, when people say, you know, in going through a crisis, what's the first thing that you, what best bit of advice that you can give them? And I would say you are the vehicle to success of your life, whether it's relationship success with your partner, your children, or relationship success with your business and your team. So number one for me is to look after yourself. Make your vehicle the best vehicle it could be, because when going into a crisis situation or any kind of battle, you need to be at peak performance. So that's peak nutrition, peak sleep, you know, peak exercise, peak physical fitness. So going into COVID or going into a big challenge or going into a big event, I mean, as you know, I've done triathlon for 20 years. I'm not going to go into an Ironman and treat my body, badly. I'm going to treat it like gold beforehand. Well, business is no different. If you're wanting to be having an amazing business, this vehicle is how you're going to do it. Your brain, your body, your energy, your clarity. So number one is look after that vehicle, because the more awesome that vehicle can be, the better you're going to be. Whereas so often I see people, I don't know whether it's Aussie culture or whatever, but crisis comes, great, let's get pissed. Because we're having a crisis. We need to sit up all night and binge Netflix because things are really bad. And then we need to get some junk food as well. So on top of having no sleep, toxins in your body and bad food, you're going to not be at your peak.
Having lived in the US, the UK and Australia, it's not just an Aussie thing.
Oh, okay. And I've done it. I've tried it. We used to do it. It was, it was an excuse to have pizza, stay up late and have bad food and drink too much beer or wine. But I've realized putting a plan together for your life and your business. Yes.
And this is my final question. It's kind of scary. It's kind of scary because it's almost a commitment level. It's an upgrade in your commitment level to sit down and actually do that plan. Help, like some of the people watching us here today are probably a bit scared of doing all that sort of stuff. Give them a bit of an understanding as to why it shouldn't be something that's scary for them.
Because really it's exciting because you choose where you want to go. It should be exciting, but I think sometimes maybe the conversations haven't been had or they're too scared to have them. I mean, I've been in conversations with business partners where I've said, where are you in 5 years' time? And I had 2 that come to mind. One says on a farm and one says in Bali. And they were like, oh, okay. They've never had the conversation.
Were they married?
Yes. So it's sometimes these conversations are really hard to have and they're confronting. And maybe they don't know, so maybe they need to go on a journey of discovery of what do they like, what do they want out of life. And it might be a personal discovery.
I think that's brilliant because, I go back to the old thought of if you don't know where you want to be in 5 years, you're already there type thing. And that's really what the planning is all about choosing where you want to be And that's what I love about the way you take people through the process. You help them work out, first of all, where they want to be before you work out, well, let's work out how you get there. So listen,
Absolutely.
years ago, you said you were going to write this book, and I said, oh, fantastic. When you get it done, let me know. I'll write the forward for you. And here we are today. It's done. It's out there. I look forward to watching it hit the bestsellers. I look forward to everyone whose life it changes. Huge congratulations. If someone wants to get more in touch with you, obviously they can follow you on all the social medias. They can hit the website. Where do they get the book if they want to get the book tomorrow or today or right now?
It is on Amazon. And by the way, my powers that be have just told me we've hit #1. So that's on Amazon for bestsellers. So that's very good.
Is that since we're live here today? Is that because we're live?
Yes, absolutely. And it's not about my ego. It's about wanting to reach more people, to touch more people's lives. But, you know, I don't know if you remember this, Brad, and I'd love to finish off with this, but when I started Action Coach, when I went to Vegas, bought my license, had to invest, you know, a reasonable sum of money to become an action coach, we'd just been hit by the GFC. I had 6 people at home, a big mortgage, $1.8 million of debt had crumbled down on top of me from the GFC when I was only not long before worth about 4 mil. So I decided to back myself and invest more money and go to Vegas to become an action coach. And I remember I couldn't even afford to buy a beer when people were doing rounds. So I had to just pretend I only liked water, and they thought I was a health nut. Well, it wasn't that I didn't want a beer, it was because I couldn't afford one. So I've had my back against the wall big time, financially challenged. But, you know, if you don't back yourself to get out of it, you know, you've got a lot less chance to get through it.
Huge congrats. Well done. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us today. Congratulations to them.
Thank you so much, Brad. Very much appreciate it. And hopefully people will think again about planning their business and their life success.